Nice to see all of you. Our presentation today is on bouncing back from the pandemic. So I've met some of you already. My name is Patrick Fallon. I'm the president of JETAA Music City. This is my first year as president. Thank you. Yep. I just got back from JET. I was in Kumamoto from 2021 to 2022.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amy. I think I've met most of you in this room. I'm the executive for JETAA Bluegrass. We're a sub-chapter of Music City, so I'm basically Kentucky's rep. I was an ALT in Gunma, Takasaki-shi, from 2013 to 14. And just a shout out to all of our officers from Music City. The 6 on the left, they're under Music City. Francis, Bijan, Ty, James, Jillian, and John, and Tucker is the other executive in Kentucky.
Yep. So Music City is Nashville. We cover the entire Tennessee area. We're partnered with a few organizations in that area. So we have the Consulate-General of Japan. Nashville is located in Nashville. We have JAS, and then we have JAS, which Amy. Would you like to touch on that?
Yeah, I'm the project manager at the Japan America Society of Kentucky, and that's how I kind of got involved with JETAA Bluegrass. We had been dormant for a while. I found out Bluegrass had been dormant for a while, and through my work, there was a lot of JETAA alums approaching me saying, hey, maybe JAS could do something for JETAA alums. And that's when I found out there's actually a Bluegrass chapter. And so I just joined this year as an executive, and my goal is to help rebuild that network and community in Kentucky. So in the next session, I'll be talking about JETAA and JAS and how we can work together. So if you're interested at 3 o'clock, you can join that discussion.
Yeah, so first I just want to give a brief introduction of what we've been doing. So JETAA Music City has a variety of events. We service the Tennessee area. Our events right now are focused mainly on Nashville. That's where we find most of our membership is. We do a Hanami picnic every year. We do a yakiniku event, which is kind of like our returnee event. We do a curry cook-off as well. And then we do a send-off social for the D parties. So this is, these are, if you can see it, these are some photos from our social send-off of this year. We have a pretty consistent crowd and tight-knit community at JETAA MC. It's a lot of the same people that will attend the events. We're looking to make sure we're getting everyone included. Tennessee is a big state. We have Memphis, Chattanooga, Knoxville. They're all kind of outside of the Nashville area. And right now we're looking to expand that. And that's something we'll touch on in our presentation. So in-person events are really the foundation of our organization. And I think for a lot of y'all, it's the same. After when COVID happened, our in-person events stopped and we shifted solely to virtual events. We did virtual Tomodachi Kais, we did Valentine's Day, it looks like. And then we also had some networking events. I wasn't involved with the organization then, but it looks like we handled it well. But it was unfortunate that we couldn't continue our in-person events. So becoming president, that's something I was really looking to do, was to bring all these in-person events back. So for this year, to tackle recovering from COVID, I had 2 goals. The first one is to create more opportunities to connect and network among the alumni. And then the second one was to reinstate the social events that we lost to COVID. So to touch on the first goal, creating more opportunities to connect and network. I considered a variety of solutions, but the one that I think is really working right now is having consistent communications in order to increase engagement. So for every event that we do, we have structured communication. We do the week before, we have posts on Facebook and Instagram. And after our events, every day after the event, we do another post on Instagram and Facebook just to make sure people get reminded. And then we include our photos in the newsletter. So newsletter is something that we started this year, and shout out to our communications coordinator, Jillian. She does a wonderful job on our monthly newsletter. We release it within the first week of each month. And these will detail upcoming events for the month. It will detail Japan related events that aren't necessarily affiliated with us, but that are in the Nashville or Tennessee area, or events that are advertised by the Consulate-General that they want to include. So results, we've seen, we've seen some good results so far. So we use Constant Contact as our main, or as our listserv software. We've had a really strong turnout at our Tomodachi Kai events, which I'll touch on again after this. We have a 55% open rate of our emails, which was compared to the 30% open rate before COVID. So just by having consistent communications, we've had higher attendance, and it looks like people who are more interested in participating.
Sorry, what software were you using?
Yeah, Constant Contact.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that,
Oh, feel free to ask questions, by the way, or jump in. Yeah,
is that a subscription based?
it is subscription based, so we pay for it every month. Yeah.
Does CLAIR cover that? Is it-
Yes.
is there-
Yeah, Claire covers it.
I have
Yeah.
a couple more questions.
Yeah.
So do you just do the monthly newsletter, or do you do like, and how many events do you typically put in?
Yeah, that's a good question. So as of this year, we're trying to regain all of our events. Actually, let me touch on this right now. I'm about to go into it. Yeah, no, you're fine. Good question. So our second goal was reinstating the social events that we lost to COVID. That would be our Tomodachi Kai series, which we've done sort of on and off for the past, I don't know however long we've been existed for, but since COVID, it's been a little more inconsistent. So we do monthly brewery meetups, we've had recent alumni attend, we've had Takeshi's not here right now, but Takeshi attended some of them. So just another chance for people to meet up and connect. But to your question, we include our Tomodachi Kai events in the email. We also include our whatever monthly event, our annual events if we do have it. So we have a set of annual events that would be our Hanami picnic, yakiniku event, curry cook-off, and I think I'm forgetting one, but I'll remember later. Oh, that's wrong.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, and for JETAA Bluegrass, we've been dormant for a while. The only thing we've done so far this year are Tomodachi Kais, and we've only done 2, and the second one was larger, so that's a success, right? We've been trying to gather more people, and I'm also wondering as a sub-chapter how I can partner more with Music City, because Kentucky and Tennessee are massive states, and we're trying to come up with an idea where we can collaborate and kind of meet somewhere near the middle of the states and collaborate on an event. But that's still something we're brainstorming about.
Yeah, to that point, like we were such a large area that it was hard, like it's very hard for us to include everyone. But we did split into the subchapter, which has helped a lot, as you can see. So our focus right now, we just want to keep things manageable for our team. We don't want to overdo it. So that's where our goals are fairly simple, but also it's been effective in keeping people connected. So doing the Tomodachi Kais, getting those annual events up and going again, and also making sure we're consistent with communications. We see progress as a culmination of consistent effort. So we're hoping to continue these events going forward. Hoping that leads to a stronger community in Nashville. And we're excited by the small wins. So, I mean, both of us are very new to the leadership role. So we've seen some good successes so far that we're hoping to see more of going forward. Yes.
For the Tomodachi Kai, because I'm not sure what is included, is that themed? Is that just like we meet at a restaurant and the lunch or dinner and that's it? Or is it like something a little more structured?
Sure.
You may want to reiterate the question. I just saw
Oh,
a comment saying that.
Oh.
they didn't know the questions. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's Tomodachi Kai. Don't know what it's been traditionally, but right now it's something that has existed for a while, and it's a meetup among the alumni at most often like a brewery or something that's convenient for for people, but we found that the way we've done it is a bit inconvenient for people. So because we're in Nashville, even within Nashville, like there's some parts where it's like not as convenient for people to go within the city. So going forward, we want to, be inclusive of everyone in the area. So we're changing it up. We're changing locations. We'll go to South Nashville for one of them, go to Middle, East, West, to try to get good membership at all the events.
For the Tomodachi Kais in Kentucky, I try to partner with local breweries and say, hey, can you waive the reservation fee for our party? And they're usually pretty generous in working with us, and they've been really kind to lend their space and sometimes like a free appetizer or two. So I try to keep the budget low, and so the only thing I usually pay for is the food, and then everyone can buy their own drinks.
How do you keep consistent buy-in for those events? Because I can just say you talk about having a huge area of that you cover, and we're all Southern California, which means we can barely get people in LA to come to LA events. And we've found that we've started events, but people say they're going to show up and then don't. So I would love to know how especially when you're asking these breweries, like they're agreeing to waive a fee, that if 3 people show up, then does that balance out?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We haven't seen like low membership on any of them, just because it's like, we do have like a very close-knit community in the Nashville area, which we're very appreciative of. But yeah, it's not necessarily a buy-in. It's more of like we send it out and you come understanding that you're the one paying for the drink or whatever. But when we do partner with the breweries, we do get benefits. So another example would be for our October event, I'm excited. We're going to partner with a local sake brewery, and very popular in Nashville. They're going to give us a couple perks, which we're excited about. But yeah, to that point, we don't claim to be like experts in this. It's sort of just like we've been seeing something that works, but at the same time, we've seen issues, which would be getting those people in like say Memphis or Chattanooga or those larger cities, see how they could.
And if I can do a quick follow-up, are you seeing like the same tight-knit group showing up every time?
Yes, definitely. But so same tight-knit group. Also excited to. We're very we invite whoever wants to come, or see if people want to invite their friends, family, etc. I mentioned before we had Takeshi Yamagishi on the panel earlier. He attended one. We advertised that it's sort of like a professional development one in a sense, because we had a recruiter coming. So yeah, I think it's something that we can definitely build off of and get membership by advertising it differently if someone's in town and they want to participate.
Tomodachi,
Sorry. So going off of what you were asking and saying, Juliana, the country rep from JETAA USA, said that she found charging a small fee in advance, like $5, wants to kind of guarantee turnout and also kind of incentivize the people to show up as well.
And you don't see, I was going to say, because I think the balance there, and the one that I'm worried about is, well, when you tell people it's $5 to buy in, then they're like scared off. I have to do that.
She also just posted as well that she says she always lets people know that the fee can be waived 100 times if needed.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that's maybe a good
We also put a cap on how many people can come, and it gives people like an incentive to be like, oh, if I don't RSVP, then I don't get to go.
I usually try to find like up and coming bars, like pretty new that no one's been to. And then for every Tomodachi Kai, I always ask people, what are you interested in doing next? So like, what are some ideas you have? So someone told me there's a round 1 in Louisville, Kentucky. I did not know that. So now we're talking about doing a Shinrin Kai there. So I try to get to know everybody who come and ask them. And I also reach out to the universities, the local universities, the Japanese departments. I ask the professors if any of their students are interested in the JET program, they're more than welcome to come to the Tomodachi Kai. So that a few of them have showed up to inquire more about the program. But Shanti,
I just had a quick tip. Not that this is the JETAA, but I have
participated in events where you have to pay a fee upfront, and if you actually attend, you get it back.
Oh,
And if you don't attend, then they get to keep it.
Cancellation.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
yeah.
Free stopping fee.
Another strategy is door prizes. And so if you like, say, like, if you come, you can be entered in to receive this prize, and so it kind of gets.
Oh, yeah. I could donate like jazz.
Yeah, that's okay. We have to find a donation.
Yeah, you can't do that with GIA,
Right.
because there's the whole gift thing.
Yeah.
But if, it's, Ryan pointed out, you can do cost sharing, so, yeah, you charge a fee, and a lot of chapters have done that. And you're telling them, look, you're paying this much, but it's this much of the value because, Claire's paying for it. Hopefully that's an incentive, both ways.
Appreciate the conversation. Like, I think it's really valuable. Yes.
Question for you. You were saying that you're sending out monthly emails and you specifically target the first week of the month.
Mhm.
How does that work in scheduling your actual board and officer meetings? Because our officers, sometimes it's the beginning of the month, sometimes it'll jump to the end of the month. So we've got a 2-month period where we have no decisions being made. And therefore, we're not sending out, any kind of notification there. How are you working that with your meetings and your monthly meetings and having discussions and making decisions and then getting an email sent out?
Sure. So for the most part, we know what our schedule is going to be, or rather we do know what our schedule is going to be for the year. So we don't have, for monthly meetings so far, our exec board is close, I'd say. So it's more of like, we'll meet up casually, but we don't have like strict meetings just to discuss JET things. We do have like a Facebook Messenger group that we use and stay active there, but everyone in the group knows what their responsibility is and they have the resources available to them. Like for our communications officer, she has our calendar. She knows that she's going to post these, things on social media at a specific time. So there hasn't really been a need for us to have strict meetings about these things.
It's not for just, we try to make it very clear that we have a meeting and make a calendar invite for it for the same like date every, our meeting a week before the end of the month. And then the newsletter goes out within the first week of the next month. And we're still getting our group in that. And we definitely still have officers who forget about the meeting, and I will not say that I have never made that mistake. But the consistency of it, especially because most people, the buy-in problem is I'm busy and I've planned other things already. Whereas once it becomes a consistent ritual, then it's a lot easier for people to be like, oh, it's in my calendar already, so I'm not booking this thing over it when now I have it ingrained in my mind. And again, it's not perfect yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah, so Great Lakes is what we do started, I want to say half a year ago, is we said, oh, our monthly meetings is every second Sunday of every month from 2:30 to 4:30. If you can't make it, you're expected to read the meeting minutes on the internet or through our drive. So that's what we've been doing for a few months. We're working really well. And I always send a reminder a week before the meeting, say, we have a meeting this weekend, please make sure that you can go or let us know you can't go.
I was also curious about the timing of, so you said that you send out your newsletter the first week.
Yes.
Does that mean the events happen mid or the end of the
Yeah,
month?
yes.
Because what we found out is that we send it out kind of the end of the month
Mhm.
for the next. So like for September's like events, we send it out usually the last week of August.
Right.
Just so folks can plan ahead.
Yeah, sure. Good point. So we do our Tomodachi Kais the second week or the second Thursday of every month. And then we don't have a like annual event every month. But so far we found that it's working well. Of course, I'm new to this role and everything that y'all are saying is very helpful for me to see if I can implement some new strategies. But
At the Japan America Society of Kentucky, we also share any kind of event for that JETAA is doing with our members, because there's a lot of JET alumni out there who don't know about the JETAA chapter, who are not involved. So another idea would be to reach out to your local Japan America Society to see if they would help you share the information as well.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, and our last slide is basically what we're working on now is connecting with the broader community. And we know that all the JETAA chapters have their own challenges. And like Patrick said, one of the things we're doing now is trying to work on that consistent communication through our listserv with our members, trying to connect with them, people on social media, like searching for them on LinkedIn, JET alum, who are in Kentucky or Tennessee, and reaching out to them personally to try to get them involved with the JETAA chapter. So if you guys have any ideas on how we could connect with the broader community, that'd be great.
Yeah, just talk
Yeah.
on that note, like just I've talked to a lot of you personally and brought this up. I know I think someone in Texas. I'll talk to you. You'll have like Houston, Dallas, like the bigger cities will have representatives or something like that. But yeah, curious what other locations went to.
So we're Southern California. We just got an officer for like the first time in a very long time, to my understanding, who is in San Diego, which is an area that is a big city and we haven't really tapped it before. And we have been trying to find a way to not overload her with making her the expectation that she'll host just as many events as LA, but finding ways that we can try to coordinate them so that it's easier for people to connect like an event to the same day. So we realized that there was a Balboa Park in San Diego and a Balboa Lake Park in LA. So we did an event called A Tale of Two Balboas. It was the state day, and we didn't really have any direct connection other than, hey, it's a park and it's kind of potluck. But just having the ability to be like, okay, LA crew, you're getting represented, San Diego crew, you're also being represented, and spiritually we're doing this event together. And that actually got us a pretty good turnout. I mean, like 10 people at each one, which was for us these days was a really great turnout. Yeah. So that worked for us, and we're looking into other ways that we can do something like that, so that our, in your case, a subchapter maybe doesn't feel so excluded from the other big portion of the chapter.
That's a great idea. We do that within the state. I'm in Louisville, and then another executive is in Lexington. So we'll do like back and forth events. But yeah, I guess that's a great idea. We could do it like state to state. Oh, sorry.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
We do a rotation, so we have a monthly dinner club where we visit a restaurant of our choice. And in Portland, it's east side or west side. But now we have an officer in Boise, so now we're doing east side, west side, and Boise, east side, west side, Boise. So we're switching it up that way. That way, we're not changing our budget either. It's just less frequently. But it keeps everybody able to say like, oh, I can get to that one, but I can't get to that one.
Yeah,
I think
with moving it around, you do risk fragmentation where people say, I'm not gonna show up unless you put it in my neck. So it is nice to move it sometimes, but I would pick like 2 locations as opposed to moving it all over the city, just from having dealt with diminishing returns of people showing up.
Oh, yeah, so kind of tangent on that last thing. We had 2 bowling events, one in Detroit and another in Ohio. I forgot what city it was, and we called it geosynchronous. So same time, same event, but like different locations.
So Seattle, well, Pacific Northwest, most of our people that participate are in Seattle. And so we try for our Bonenkai, Shinenkai, we rotate north, central, and south to get as many people. As if you're doing it, for one large event, at these 2 really important times, people are more likely to attend for the larger gathering. And then for inter-chapter, we partner with BC and Portland for 2 events usually. So they've been on hold or online since pandemic. The first one is Iron Chef. We get together and have mystery ingredients. And I think this year we're trying to find an Airbnb that has, a couple extra rooms, so if people need to sleep over, they can, but also has a large kitchen, so everyone can chop and cook. And then we have judges. We have a lot of people in the food industry. So yeah, and then the second one is jet ski. So we switch locations on what mountain we all ski at. And we're trying to get support. I think it might be GA. I don't know. I am not the budget trans thing. To take a little bit off of that. I also don't ski, the lift thing. Yes, yeah, sure. I go for the dinner. It's great. That one's called après ski. And it is ski. Yeah. So
Just some comments today on like community, Gabriel, the president from the Chicago, saying just nice work in Music City and Bluegrass. Finding that consistent communication with tempo can be difficult. It seems like you're doing a good job. And also they attended one of your brewery.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah,
Oh,
attended
was
one of
it?
your brewery events. They really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. Glad you stopped by. Come to more. But yeah, on that note, I think this is one of the most valuable things that came out of this was obviously like everyone talking about what works. Since we have a couple more minutes, I'll touch on the questions, some more like leading questions. Feel free to discuss. Let's see. Well, I think the most relevant one would be, or at least to our conversation right now, would be how have you connected with the broadest part of your alumni network, like the people that you might not have reached otherwise, or that you've seen, aren't attending events, or maybe even how have you connected with people you didn't even know existed that were JET alumni? So feel free to chat.
So the JETs are often invited by the consulate to join the consulate booth at festivals. And so we have like half like, yay, go to Japan, here's how, and then half join the JET program. And we often have people with strollers like, I was a JET 20 years ago. Well, why haven't we seen you? And that's a great way for us. Also, we have a binder to say, this is the membership list. If you sign up, and we get more funding. And they're usually happy to do that. But also, stop for 20 minutes, just, not to pressure them, but to also just chat and say, hey, if you have, teenage kids, you can always get them into this scholarship program, or, we have a summer picnic coming up. We've always invited. But that's been a great help. We have 4 or 5 festivals every year that thousands of people attend. And we have 20-minute conversations all the time, just one after another. You have to have Genki volunteers.
Yeah, similar thing in Northern California. There's somebody staffing from the JET alumni community helping out with whatever the consulate needs. Again, either recruiting, reminiscing, that kind of thing. To the earlier point about events and having people actually show up to events. We've done both of having like one major event like the Shinenkai, Bonenkai, one big event, and usually rotating. Is it San Francisco? Is it East Bay? Is it South Bay? And then since the pandemic, we've also started having like, instead of one big summer picnic, having a smaller picnic, a regional. Again, it could be splitting, but it's not always sunny in San Francisco. So we'll do San Jose, East Bay, Oakland. And so it makes it closer, because there were complaints before. It's like, why does everything have to be in San Francisco? I mean, it took Emily and I carpooled here, and it took her an hour to come to my house in San Francisco. And it's only how many miles? 18 miles, 50 minutes. So, and a toll. So when you have hurdles like that, you're like, okay, maybe somewhere else. So, yeah, just being, I think, creative and flexible, like what you were talking about. Like, and then just,
We're almost out of time, maybe a question, then we'll wrap that up.
Oh, and just a comment about, so JETAA DC, maybe you've heard, but this will be their third year through the Sasakawa USA mini grant through USJETAA. They're doing a mentorship program, and clearly that takes a lot of time and thought. You have to get mentors and mentees who are, JET alums and pair them together, but it's a way that they've actually been able to get JET alum who are, 20, 30 years out of JET, very high in their career, who haven't been engaging at all in JET, but they were really happy to do that. And then they kind of started getting engaged. So even starting really small, organically, you can also apply for the mini grant for funding for that, but that was online.
Awesome. What does the grant actually be like?
Mini
What do
grant,
they do-
so
What do they do with the money? package?
so for example, the career panel this afternoon was a mini grant that JETAA Northern California applied for, so that essentially the honorarium for the panelists, that kind of thing. So it's up to around $3,000, but it can be for food costs. Usually it's a event. We're doing one in LA in October. Yeah, we're working with Maria.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
The
that.
carrier panel that they're having
know about
in
that.
LA, we're funding that. So you apply through USJETAA. So I highly encourage that.
Anything else? Yeah. How's it?
We're just about out of time.
Okay.
Any closing comments?
Really appreciate the conversation today. Those were two topics we really just wanted to touch on, was recovering from COVID, and then also connecting with the broadest part of our membership. So really appreciate all of the ideas that y'all have, and I hope all of us can take away from what we shared today. That said, please connect with us and come to an event sometime in Nashville if you're over there.
Hi, thank
Yeah,
you.
see you later.
Yeah, back, I guess back in the day.
Yeah, I know, I was like, you said that, it was a feeling,